13 Questions by Man Transcending. Manhood in the Digital Age.
Hey guys, we're back here at the 13 Questions podcast. This week we're going to be chatting with Supaman, Christian Takes Gun Parish, Native American powwow dancer and hip-hop superstar in my opinion, but he'll get there. Absolutely fantastic guy. And actually, Graham and I were just talking, and we just realized that on the first episode of the show, we didn't introduce ourselves because we do the other podcast. And
I know.
So many hundreds of episodes in that we assume we don't need to.
I
But
know.
anyway, I'm Darren Grimes.
And I'm Graham.
Yeah.
Graham Dunlop.
Yeah, and we're here doing the intros for the 13 Questions podcast, which really has nothing to do with the host, and it's all about the guests, and we let anyone do the interviews, so maybe that's why we didn't introduce ourselves.
Yeah, probably.
It's not about us.
Yeah.
It's about the questions, and it's more than anything, it's about the answers. So if you're new here, of course, 13 Questions is this is the free portion of the show, and we hope you enjoy it. What we do here is we go through 13, like to think they're well thought out questions. We've definitely got some pretty good feedback on them. They're always sort of evolving and tweaking them, but we've stuck with them so far. Episode 2. Yeah, so this is a free portion where we'll go through the 13 questions with Christian, and he'll give us his well thought out answers. And of course, if you head on over to 13questionspodcast.com or mantranscending.com, you'll find the options there, which now you'll notice right now mantranscending.com is just forwarding to 13questionspodcast.com. That's because the actual Man Transcending isn't going to be ready for a couple of months. So we're just hosting everything on 13questionspodcast.com for now. Anyway, if you head over there, head over to the sign up page and sign up for $7 a month, $77 a year, or $777 lifetime. You'll instantly get access to the premium RSS feed, which of course has the 5 or 6 bonus questions and a little open conversation at the end of that we have with each guest. Usually about a half an hour extension to each episode. There's 2 episodes a week, so you get extensions on those. And you also get access to the bonus shows whenever we do them. You know, sometimes some members are sending in too many shows for the free feed, so we just release them in the bonus, and then the members are the ones who get all that. And I mean, the premium podcast is just a small part of what you're actually getting when you head over there. It's actually, you do get that premium podcast, so you get 2 podcast extensions per week. You also get a weekly newsletter from our team with journaling prompts aimed at self-discovery and improvement where needed, if needed. We'll leave that up to you. We're just going to help you. We're going to poke you a little bit and help you maybe discover yourself a little. You also get exclusive content from some of our affiliates. Like we get the 5 communication courses from TJ Walker right now, where we've got those we're offering, which are well over 100 hours of content in 5 different communications courses. Of course, I like to say communication is one of the biggest problems we have as humans. And there's 5 courses there. I mean, just those courses are probably worth like 3 years subscription to this podcast. So just those courses, you get an instant value, you get the extensions, you get the private Discord with other members where we can be open and honest, and you guys can talk amongst each other and really build some community there, which I think is great. Everyone could use a little more community. And then you get the private forums as well. And one of the main things that we thought was a cool idea that we also offer here is the ability to record your own fathers, grandfathers, yourself, your brother, your uncle, your cousin, your boss, who knows? But maybe there's someone in your life who you think their story needs to be immortalized on the internet, or you think that'd be a good thing, or maybe you just want to try your hand out at podcasting.
Well, it might even be a good thing to get people thinking about this stuff, right? Like, what if somebody just needs to be prompted by some of these questions to actually go through this process about thinking, what he wants to be or what's been good influences in his life.
Well, that's just it, because, the questions do make you think. These aren't whenever we do the interviews, we send the questions out ahead of time, because these aren't the kind of questions that you can just be dropping on someone on the fly. Like I drive around.
Some of the best answers are.
Yeah, that's true. But I wouldn't want to try and answer them on the fly.
No.
I need some time with them to think about it. But you could almost journal on the question. So anyway, We're going to open source the interviews, and we're going to allow any of our members to send. I mean, there's going to be some audio guidelines. We'll get a little video up, or we'll get a little blurb down someplace. I'll get Adam to do a thing someplace. I'll give you guys sort of some parameters of where to operate in between for some sound quality. Yeah. And as long as the sound is up to snuff, then we're gonna go ahead and release those podcasts for the whole world to hear. And
the whole world who
listens.
Yeah.
And you know what they say about the internet.
Yeah.
When something's on the internet,
that's true.
There's no getting it off.
Yeah.
So yeah, we think it's a good thing, and we hope you enjoy it. Of course, a little rundown on Supaman. There's no R, of course. That's Supaman. He's a friend of ours. Fantastic hip hop artist. Also a fantastic powwow dancer. Anyway, here's his bio, read off his own website. As a member of the Apsaluki Nation, Supaman makes his home on the Crow Reservation in Montana. Supaman is Christian Takes Gun Parish, a Native American dancer and innovative hip-hop artist who has dedicated his life to empowering and spreading a message of hope and faith through hip-hop music. He has been the recipient of the 2017 MTV VMA Award for Best Fight Against the System. He is also a NAMI, Native American Music Award winner, North American Indigenous Image Award, and 7 Toonie Awards. He recently was awarded the Aboriginal People's Choice Music Award in Canada for Best Video and was voted MTV's New Artist of the Week. His latest video, entitled Prayer Loop Song and Why, both have gone viral and have received over 3 million views on YouTube and Facebook, which has put him in high demand, touring extensively throughout the USA and internationally. He has performed for Google at the Google headquarters in San Francisco and got to dance in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City. He recently was asked to audition for America's Got Talent and the Broadway play Hamilton. He is currently working with Taboo from the multi-Grammy award-winning group Black Eyed Peas, looking to complete a project in the coming months with his group Mag 7. Christian's presentation combines Native American culture, comedy, and urban hip-hop culture, which dazzles audience and captivates listeners. For this, he has gained the respect of his culture and generation. The communicative talent, along with the compassion that exudes from his music, allows him to connect with people from all walks of life. His uncanny ability to motivate, encourage, and inspire through dance and hip-hop music keeps him at the forefront among his contemporaries, which gives him a platform to educate on Indigenous issues. And I mean, from personal experiences, we've had the pleasure of interviewing Supaman a couple of times on another show we do. And one thing that's not mentioned in the bio is that this guy spends a lot of his free time. He gives his phone number out to people who are, because we know suicide's a huge problem on reservations. This guy gives out his personal phone number to anyone on social media that says they're going through some stuff so that he can try and convince them that life's worth living.
I was going to mention that. Over and above this bio, he helps addicts and alcoholics as well. He's very effective and inspirational in that community to help people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. He's a great guy and some great answers. I really hope you guys enjoy these extremely well thought out answers from Christian. Okay, we'll jump right into the first question here, which is, what was the best advice ever given to you?
What was the best advice given to me? That was probably, there's so much advice, that's been given, but I would say it was one that was real basic, You fall down, get back up, keep going, don't give up. Probably one of the best words of advice that I always remember is don't give up, just if you make a mistake, just try again, get up, don't worry about it, don't let it defeat you.
And would you expand or modify that at all?
I would say definitely, it's all about that journey, because knowing that you're going to make mistakes, but keeping that rooted as, don't let your mistakes define you, and always push forward in movement. Always take action, moving forward and not looking back. That's the thing is, yeah, we all make mistakes, but a lot of people will look back and they'll be like, "Ah, man, it's they let it define them, their mistakes, and they'll let people say what they say, remind them of their mistakes, and that kind of defines who they are. And they're not able to go forward. So I would say, don't look back, just keep going forward."
In a lot of ways, I think that's where like triggering comes from, right? You get triggered because it's bringing up some old mistake that you're ashamed of.
Right. Yeah, exactly. People remind you, and it like takes you back to that shame or whatever it was, take you back to that moment. And you kind of think, oh, that's how they look at me. That's how they see me. That's how the world sees me, as my mistakes. And so you start to embrace that, and becomes your identity almost. And so I think, yeah, it's always best to, not look back and just always look for hope in the future.
What was the most important lesson that you learned from your parents?
The most important lesson I learned from my parents was to not drink. Though early on, to not drink alcohol. Like early on, my childhood was surrounded by alcoholism. So my mom and dad were alcoholics. They drink a lot, and so I got to see all of that drama, and chaos, and that environment was wild. And so I saw that, and that was my lesson right there, is not to live that life, not to be like them. And so that was probably the most important lesson, I think. There's a lot of lessons. That was probably one of the most important, is that I would remain sober, in this life, in this journey. And when I look back, I think, yeah, that was the best decision and best lesson that I learned from them.
So did you listen to that lesson right off the bat?
Yeah, because I saw it, I saw it, and I saw how my father was and everything. And, my father ended up losing his life, when I was 10 years old, and that was because of under the influence of alcoholism. And so they didn't really tell me, don't drink or anything. I just saw it, and kind of like taught myself almost, but they were the teachers, just by living their life. My perspective was like, that was crazy. That was a crazy life that I didn't want to live, and that substance there was causing all that drama.
That's good. Yeah, because you hear, you almost hear about where it happens the opposite, where you fall into that pattern. That's a good thing you learned. Yeah. You learned from that.
Definitely.
So, what book was the most influential on your life, and why?
What book? Shoot, there's so many books. Like, I'm a reader. I believe you should always be reading something. Like at all times. Like you should be reading a book. Like go from one book to the next. Like the Bible was really influential in my life. Kind of raised in Christianity, church, and so that had a lot of influence. But there's also other books. There's a lot, like The Alchemist. I don't know if you guys ever read that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good book. Really kind of jumped out in my spirit, when I read that book. Yeah. And there's also one called The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire. That's a good one. It's by Deepak Chopra. There's one called Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins. That one called How to Be Here by Rob Bell. There's so many books out there. Like those are the ones that kind of come to mind, I'd say.
Right on.
What?
And another good one is called Chief Plenikoos. It's about one of our last chiefs of our tribe, and that one's really influential to me too. Like I read that book like all the time. I read it like 5 times, but that's one of the ones that really kind of shaped me as well.
Sorry, what was that called again? Just I kind of stepped on you a little bit.
Oh, it's called Chief Plenikoos, Chief of the Crows.
Okay, thanks.
what daily habits or rituals do you have, and do you recommend them for everyone?
Let's see, daily habits. I'd say when when I'm getting up, my habit is actually trying to not have a habit. So I like to change things. I read somewhere where if you change your habits during the day, your brain will be more programmed to new things and it'll be open. Like I forgot, but so during the day, like if I get up and I'm going to brush my teeth, I'll switch hands, or I'll face a different direction, or if I get into the shower, I'll turn a certain way, and just do different stuff. I know it sounds freaking weird, but I'll do that. I'll change my routine and my habits, just to get my brain going in a different direction. Get that brain firing in a different direction to where your mind is more open to change, and rather than staying in that habit, I guess the ritual of routine, monotony, to change the monotony and to always be open to new things. And so that's like one of the things I do. Also prayer, like during the day or anytime, like I'm in prayer, like in my mind. If I just see something or if I just feel it, in my spirit, just to pray, to give thanks, I'll just, spontaneously take a look at my life and just be thankful. Just give thanks. Like, hey, man, I got a home, I got, wife and kids. I'm blessed. Thank you, Creator. Just thank you for life. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm getting on this plane. I'm going to speak to these people, and thank you. Thank you for this. It's a good life. So I'll just give thanks, throughout the day. I think that is one of the most important habits to have, is always give thanks and kind of like take a step back and realize that you're blessed. Like somebody looks at your life and they think, man, I wish I had his life, and then we look at somebody else's life and I wish we had their life, So it's always good to stay humble and just realize your blessings.
Nice. That like gratitude is important. And I like the part about the routine, because I feel like that's a way to stay present as well. Not only keep your brain flexible and different sort of rewiring, but also staying present. Because I find even myself, if I'm following the same routine over and over, my mind is just in the clouds. I'm just wandering.
Right.
So if I were to ask your best friend, what is the one thing they would say you need to work on the most, what would that be, and why do you think?
Probably being reaching out to friends, like spending time with them, or like going to family gathering, like being a part of those, because I'm so busy, like focusing on career and family, my own immediate family.
Yeah.
That, you kind of lose touch with the people you grew up with, or you don't want to participate in like social gatherings for whatever reason, like. So yeah, that would probably be it, is like being a better friend, being a better friend to them. That's what they'd say I need to change.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Isn't it funny, in our days of hyper connectedness, and we're more disconnected than ever?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing right there. Like, yeah, I was just watching BuzzFeed documentary on Netflix, and it was talking about that, how the internet is shaping everybody's culture now, socially and everything. It was kind of scary, it was like, we don't, those people who hold those old school values, they come from, not from the internet, but comes from family and, your people. And so now the internet is shaping different kind of cultures, which are way out there, so it's kind of scary.
What are you most curious about?
Probably the unknown, the afterlife, the power of the unknown, like when you pray, like when I pray, or if I have like a really significant day, like for instance, I was coming back from Canada, and I was way up there, and somebody was seeing me off at the airport, and they're like, "Yeah, man, we'll see you again. You know, there's no coincidences." Oh, yeah, you bet. So it was actually when I got this book, The Alchemist, that one, and so he says, "No coincidences." I get into the airport, I'm walking around, and I see one of my friends, you know, from back in Montana, way up there in Canada, and he's like sitting at this food court, and I'm like, I stood there, I was like, "Hey, what's up, brother?" And he's like, he's a pastor, you know, I used to be a pastor, you know, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, let me buy you food." And then we talked, and he was talking about doing this project, which was amazing. It's a project about natives, you know, just being who they are in the culture and stuff like that. And then before he goes, he's like, "Man, it's good that we met. No coincidences," he says. And I'm like, "Oh, what the heck?" You know, it's trippy. And then it's my son's birthday at the same time. And then my son, he decides to get this tattoo, you know, of this eagle catching a snake, you know, in his talons. And so he gets that tattoo and on his birthday, and we just had a good father and son talk, you know, about making good choices and good decisions and stuff like that. And anyways, I get home, or no, I go and I get the book, The Alchemist. And I start reading that in the airport. And there's a part in there where it says, "There's no coincidences." You know, I was like, what the phrase? This is like weird, man. That's 1, 2, that's 3 times. And then I get home, and then just a couple of days home, and then I got to fly to Mexico City, you know, with the Black Eyed Peas, perform with them. So I go down there, you know, it's an amazing opportunity. The project is like going to be huge that we're working on. And then I'm sitting there and I'm talking to this lady who's from Mexico as well. And she's telling me about the birth of this city, about the indigenous people. And she says, "Yeah, this was built on a lake." She said the leaders, when they knew that where they were going, the leaders had a vision. And the vision was they would find where they're going by a sign of an eagle eating a snake.
No way. Oh,
Yep.
I knew it.
Freaking trippy, yo. And then she goes, and I was like, "No way. You're crazy." She's like, "Nope, nah, it is." I was like, "Man, my son just got a tattoo of that." She goes, "Really?" "No coincidences." Bam! I freaked out, yo. I was like, "This is weird, yo. This is crazy." You know, so just like, what, man, what a significant day, you know. Just a reminder throughout that whole time, and, you know, where we are, where I am with my son and all of this. And so that's what I'm most curious about, is the guidance, you know, from the creator of the unknown, of listening, and, you know, like what is going on in the unseen world, you know, after death, or, you know, our souls, you know, things like that, just the mysteries. I'm very curious about that.
That's a great example of, you know, some pretty deep synchronicity there. That's awesome.
Definitely.
So we'll switch gears a little bit here to a little bit more sort of deeper introspective stuff. Do you have an embarrassing experience? Like, what was the most embarrassing thing that has happened in your life?
Shoot, there's a few, you know, like, let's see, I'll share with one that's kind of recent. It was when I went to the VMAs, you know, with we went to the MTV VMAs, and so for the award, you know, the MTV VMA award with Taboo. And so we go down there, and we're proud, you know, man, yeah, we're here, and I don't think anybody has done it like this, you know, big time, like big old native crew, you know, showing up on the red carpet. And so I had my family's war bonnet, you know, I wore my wife's cuffs that she beaded for me, my moccasins, you know, just proud to take my people with me, and just, you know, it's an amazing experience. So anyways, we get on that red carpet, Cardi B's on this side, DJ Khaled, you know, Kendrick Lamar, all these superstars are around. And then they're taking pictures at this main part, you know, where like all the media is. There's like hundreds of media, CNN, MTV, you know, just everything. Just hundreds of media just flashing lights. You know, when Kanye West says, you know, flashing lights, you know, that's how it is. It's just like all over the place. And then they kind of go from artist to artist in that one place to take pictures, and then it's our turn to go into that little red carpet area to take pictures. And we like rush in there, you know, we put our fists in the air, we're like, yeah, you know, people, man, natives, you know, and like water is life, and we're just all happy and hyped, you know. and then we go to the next interview. We do all these interviews, man, down the red carpet, and that's just amazing experience. You know, it was just like fast, real fast, and just proud to be there. And then we finally finished, maybe after 20 minutes of walking the red carpet. And then I was like, man, I got to use the bathroom, man. And he's like, oh, yeah, let's go. You know, Taboo. He's like, let's go. And then me and MC1 and the other Mag 7 family, you know, we all went into the bathroom to use the bathroom. So I go in there and I reach down.
Oh, no.
And I freaking realized my zipper was freaking open the whole time. Yeah. Acting crazy, yo.
Oh.
Like, I just like, yo, my zipper was down the whole time. Taboo goes like, no way. I said, I'm not kidding, man. I'm not kidding. They're like, no way. He couldn't have been. I was like, it was, man. They're like, oh, my God, that's freaking crazy. And we just laughed. And I was like, and I went back and just like zoomed in on a couple of pictures. And I was like, oh, yep, there it is, man. Like, I was solo. You really noticed, you know, but we had a big old crew. So that was pretty embarrassing.
Nice.
Still a good story, though.
Yeah, that's right. What is your greatest fear and how did you overcome it?
Greatest fear is probably dying, you know, death, leaving your family, or also having your family, you know, pass away. So that's my greatest fear. And how I overcome that is it's just that unseen, that, you know, experience the unseen world and, you know, those mysteries as we were talking about, and believing that, you know, I'll see them or everything's going to be all right no matter what, you know, like in the spiritual, in the unseen realm. I just believe, you know, I believe that everything's going to be all right. And this life is temporary and we all die, and just accepting and embracing and just enjoying the time that we have, valuing that time. So I would say that is just, and that's a process as well. You know, that's like an everyday thing, you know, kind of, you can let fear overcome you, you know, you can, you know, let it plague your mind and cause you to not, you know, do certain things. It can control you if you let it. But if you just kind of let that go and just embrace it, and, or, you know, just not worry about it, and just know that it'll all come to us, you know, one way or another. And just, that's a part of life.
Mm-hmm. So what about regrets? What's your biggest regret?
Biggest regret? Shoot, that's a good one. Probably biggest regret. I made some bad decisions when I was younger, you know, when it came to relationships, me and my wife, and that kind of set us spiraling downward, you know, and in our marriage, and at the time I was like, my mind was different, you know. I thought differently at that time, and even after I had made some bad decisions, I kind of like thought to myself, no regrets. I'm glad I experienced that, you know, and got through it. You know, I kind of would look back like that, and I would always say no regrets. But now that I'm older and I'm more mature, you know, I definitely look back and be like, man, I regret that, you know. I wish I never did that. You know, there was like so much chaos at that time. And so that would probably be one, probably the biggest one, I guess.
So if you could change one thing, would or do one thing differently, would that be it? That would probably be it. But also one thing, if I was to change, would be, I wish I could have the mentality that I have now, when I was younger, when it comes to believing for bigger things and being in control of my destiny. I wish I believed that earlier in my career as a MC, because coming from the res, our mentality is different. You know, we're there and we kind of like, we're on the res, and just the whole quality of life is different, you know, on the res. And so, like, it wasn't till my wife went to college and we left the res to where my mind was open to a bigger world,
and in my dreams and visions that I wanted to accomplish became more real, more obtainable when I was out of that mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, and that was kind of like later on, in my in my life, my adult life. So I wish I had that mentality like earlier, because it kind of seems like I'm doing catch up still, like, I'm still catching up, or, I'm like kind of, I don't know, before my time or something like that,
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that kind of leads into this next one here, which is like, if you could do one thing in your past differently or change one thing, what would it be?
Yep, that would be it. That would be it. I would change my mentality, in the past, and I would be, my mind would be open. My beliefs would be different.
What are the failures that sort of stand out along the way that you kind of cherish as being defining moments?
Let's see, the failures. One of them is probably going to college. We got out of high school, and when you're in high school, you're a senior. Everybody talks about going to college. They're applying for scholarships. And it's kind of like the culture of education. Yeah, you got to go. Everybody's going, and it's kind of like it's a good thing to do. And so you kind of go with the flow, and that's what I did. I went straight to college right out of high school. And at the same time, I was like in love with my wife, who's my wife now, but I was dating her at the time, and started going to college, and my heart wasn't really in it. I wasn't really in it. And I failed, I didn't make the grade the first semester, and I like flunked out and dropped out. And, I'm glad for that, because my mentality changed as well. I started doing more music, started focusing on music and like desiring to do that. And I started going in that direction. If I would have made the grade and kept going to college, hey, that's a good thing too. Maybe have a degree or whatever, but at the same time, I wouldn't be the artist that I am now, if I didn't fail at college.
Good point. So we'll kind of get a little bit big picture now in the last few questions here. So like, what institution of society or structural aspect of modern life would you change given the chance?
Shoot, I would change the monetary system, like totally take that out, man. Like that's a big thing.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, is when you're talking to somebody, or like, that changes the dynamic of almost everything, money, like that whole, just the way that is, how we think, or our goals, and just everything like that. I would change that. I would just try to remove that out, that whole dynamic of the monetary system out of society and the world.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, could we just do that like today?
Yeah.
Start today?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's start the farms, organic farms. Let's help each other out,
Yeah, exactly.
Trade.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you replace it with?
Shoot, man, that's a tough one, like, because we've been so conditioned, we've been so conditioned and grew up with that kind of, that system, it'd be tough. It'd be like, artists do art, like everybody's passion, everybody does their passion, and that's how they contribute to society, like whatever their passion is, that's what they do. Like if an artist creates art and he paints a picture, he doesn't create it with the motivation of selling it for money. He creates it out of the love and desire that he wants to create, and then he'll give it away, Yeah. So he'll give it to somebody rather than sell it,
Is that kind of because you give away a lot of your music and we give away, is that kind of the future now of the people sort of giving stuff away and asking for something sort of in return in good nature? Is that sort of the start of that, do you think?
Kind of. I think that's kind of like old school as well, like giving as, native values. That was kind of like in our culture, of it still is, it still is giving giving, and I think that's part of the law of the universe as well. When you give, you get back as well, and so it's a good habit. That's a good habit to have is giving things away that you really value because you'll get something back.
What does it mean to you to be a man in today's fast-paced world?
What it means for me to be a man in this fast-paced world is me being a provider as a family man, is me being a provider for them, a protector, also a role model, being an example, not only just to my family, but just to anybody who might look at my life. I think me as a man, that's what I'd be, living a respectful life, trying to walk in integrity and be that example as a good man, whatever that means, that, being a good man, that's what it means to me is being the best human being that I can be, for my own family. Being selfless, getting rid of my ego, and my self wants and things that I need, but always just providing for my family and what they need and giving to others and trying to be a leader in that aspect of being the example.
Nice. Well said. So what do you think then the biggest mistake modern men are making right now?
The biggest mistake is giving into the facade of the conditioning of Hollywood and society, the government, I don't know, the things that we're influenced by, what that tells us what a man is, It's all a facade of being macho and not crying, not being sensitive, things like that. Those are our emotions, like we feel them, but society and all of this tells us that that's not being a man, so I think our biggest mistake is giving into that lie, giving into that facade of what a man is, and I think we need to reteach ourselves and have those examples and role models, of defining what is a man, what is a man in this modern day age. And how do we teach it, to the young people?
Yeah, it's definitely a lesson that hopefully starts to get handed back down to the younger generations again. Well, yeah, that about wraps it up. We'd like to thank you for coming on the show and giving us these insightful, thought out answers, and to our audience of mostly men, and thanks for coming on the show, Christian.
Hey, you bet. I appreciate the opportunity, man. It's always good to hear, those are good questions, that I'm glad you guys asked me, because it kind of makes me reflect, on my own individual walk, as a man. And so thank you for asking those questions.
Right on. And of course, we'll expand on that a little bit more in our member section. Of course, head over to mantranscending.com to become a member and get access to our bonus content, where we ask our 5 bonus questions, and when we sort of reflect on the questions themselves. And thanks guys for tuning in. Okay, so first bonus question.
All right.
What would you tell your teenage self?
What would I tell my teenage self? I would say, I'll try to tell him, the things you value now really hold no weight,
I don't want no Hawaii. I don't want no Hawaii. Yo, what? I don't want no Hawaii. I don't want no Hawaii. Yo, what? I don't want no Hawaii. I don't want no Hawaii. Yo, what? I don't want no Hawaii. I don't want no Hawaii. Yo, what? I don't want no Hawaii. I don't want no Hawaii. Yo, what? I don't want no Hawaii. How you wanna when yo
Why
what?
is one man rich and another man poor? Why we ain't satisfied? Why we gotta have more? Why your suicide rates on the rest so high? Why I tell you the truth but you say don't lie? Why is being a good father at an all-time low? Why is it acceptable? Yo, why I don't know. Why she blame him and he blame her? It's useless. Ask yourself this question. Why you making excuses? Why do parents gotta bury their kids? Why we text and drive, not caring how scary it is? Why it's so hard to forgive and leave the past behind? And if you did, then that's divine. Why don't you help your brother when you see him fall? Why do we act like God don't see it all? Why do we call them black, them white, them Asians and use labels? Now that's racism.
How you wanna when
Why?
How you wanna when yo what? How you wanna when
Why?
How you wanna when yo what? How you wanna when
Why?
How you wanna when yo what? How you wanna when
Why?
How you wanna when yo
Why is
what?
there innocent people locked up for life? While some people can't say nothing nice. Why do we always gotta question what all of it means? And why won't you follow your dreams? Tell me why. The night when you took my dad, why'd you let me see my grandpa cry? And tell me why. And why do you choose to hide, even though you was born to fly? And tell me why. And why don't we turn from all the hate? And why don't we learn from all mistakes? Why do I keep on wrecking these fat beats? And teachers don't make more than professional athletes. And why? And why? And why? And why? And why? And why?
How you wanna when
Why?
How you wanna when yo what? How you wanna when
Why?
How you wanna when yo what? How you wanna when How you wanna when yo what? How you wanna when How you wanna when yo what?
This should be considered entertainment and not therapy. We hope you benefit from our resources available at 13questionspodcast.com. Thank you for listening.